I want to learn more about the dead internet theory, and I'm going to tell you why. A couple of weeks ago, a friend of mine, also a viewer, but a friend of mine sent in a video it was about, what is his name? Destiny. This was a video that was sent in by a viewer, and I watched it, and it freaked me the fuck out. I didn't end up posting it because I got so freaked out by it. But basically, this is an edit putting together a bunch of moments from Destiny's streams where he sort of live realizes how much of the internet is bots. And also part of it was like how many users on Twitter are just straight up AI. You know when like somebody points something out to you and then you start seeing it everywhere you go? Come join us on Twitch if you ever have time at twitch.tv/hex_juice. We stream live daily at noon PST. We have changed our time to a little bit of a later date. Also, if you're noticing that the model looks a little bit different, this is my little silly guy. It is a little customizable model on Etsy, and I thought I'd be cute today. Yippee, yippee! Subscribe!
Me, Mudahar, and do you sometimes feel lonely on the internet? Do you think there's a lot less of me and you and more of the people speaking ones and zeros? I'm talking about bots, ladies and gentlemen. Well, today we're looking into something known as the dead internet theory. Now, you probably heard about this from your favorite horror spooky channels, but to be real with you, from a technical perspective, what we're looking at is not so much a theory. Again, like I said, it's an objective reality. Now, dead internet theory is one theory that had its initial showcase in 4chan's paranormal board. So if you actually look into the original post here real quick, one user writes, "Hey, I'd like to talk, or rather tell you about certain suspicions, hunches, and experiences I've had, and I'm sure some of you as well."
It's kind of crazy because this is from 2019. And I think probably in 2019, this seems like a very stupid and insane conspiracy theory. In 2024, it does not seem stupid or insane literally at all. I think it is 100% real. If I had heard this 5 years ago, I'd be like, shut up. You don't know what you're talking about. That's fake. That's stupid. Now, at least on Twitter, that's bad.
Similar themes have been written about across image boards quite a few times, so I know I'm not alone in this. So obviously their background is something of an old person. They've seen it all. They started going on 4chan in 2006 and followed the roads of the internet as many people in that early era did. So some of the points that they brought up was the internet feels empty and devoid of people. It is also devoid of content. Compared to the internet of, say, 2007 and beyond, the internet of today is entirely sterile. Again, this was posted in 2019, so pretty relatively close to our time right now. There's nowhere to go and nothing to do, see, read, or experience anymore. It all imploded into a handful of normal sites and these empty husks we inhabit. Yes, the internet may seem gigantic, but it's like a hot air balloon with nothing inside. Some of this is absolutely the fault of corporations and government entities. However, that doesn't explain the followings. So they started to list some bullet points over here and said, I used to be in perpetual contact with a solid number of people across multiple sites. Across the years, each and every one of them vanished without a trace. None of them were into poll stuff or anything remotely questionable or controversial. They all just vanished in a puff of smoke. Yeah, their friends just disappeared. One day they were online, the next day their accounts just ceased to exist, I guess. I've seen the same threads, the same pictures, the same replies, posted over and over across the years to the point of me seeing it as unremarkable.
This is true, actually. It's kind of crazy when something will be posted and people will be like, oh my God, I've never seen this before. This is so insane. And it's like, I'm pretty sure this is from like 2 years ago. Do you ever have that where somebody will post something on Twitter or like, and you'll see it and you're like, I'm pretty sure this was like a thing on Tumblr in like 2015. I'm not 100% sure, but I don't think that this is really like all that new. I see that a lot, like I guess because maybe I spend a lot of time on Twitter. You know, I'm realizing that maybe that's not the best idea anymore.
Simply put, Thread A would be posted in, say, 2015, and would get its share of replies or pics on, say, Co&A. And then there was the very same thread with the same text, pics, and replies would appear in 2016. Again, this is this person's actual understanding and their own personal experiences. So while this post is very, very long, I wanted to look at one actual, post that pretty much summarized this in the best way possible from a website known as agoraro.com. On this forum, there was one post known as the Dead Internet Theory. Most of the internet is fake, and this was posted in 2021. Again, close to our time in relative, present nature. Now, this is posted.
I feel like close to our time. I understand what he means by that. Like 2 or 3 years ago is not that much time now. But I do feel like close to our time in terms of internet time means something a little different. Because it's like basically a month on the internet is a million years. The difference of 1 month to the next month can be a totally different environment on the internet. It's kind of insane. And so I feel like even in 2021, I might not have seen the point on this. But I feel like even if it was around, maybe I was just a dumb sheep and I didn't know. Now it is so bad, it is hard to ignore.
By an account known as Illuminati Pirate.
You know how I know that it's really bad and it's hard to ignore? My 60-year-old father-in-law acknowledged that he sees so much AI stuff, that he sees AI videos, that he sees AI stuff on YouTube, where it's like it's an AI voice with an AI script and a lot of the stuff on the screen is AI. My 60-year-old father-in-law is aware of the fact that there is unreal AI content. That's how bad it is.
And of course, they said, we're living in the 90s. I love this actual image, by the way. Can't be forgetting the old classic days of Windows, before we had the monstrosity that it is today. So TLDR, large proportions of the supposedly human-produced content on the internet are actually generated by artificial intelligence networks in conjunction with paid, secret media influencers in order to manufacture consumers for an increasing range of newly normalized cultural products. So
I do not think that this was as true in 2021. I do think that this is true now. Call me a conspiracy theorist. Get me a goddamn tinfoil aluminum hat. I'll be a conspiracy theorist. I don't think this was true in 2021 nearly as much. Now it is like slapping you in the face.
So while looking past that original post, which was just, again, copied from 4chan, the next thing was a set of conspiracies that honestly kind of opened my eyes a little bit. Now, in 2004, they referenced something known as LifeLog, and this was canceled. Facebook literally came into being soon after. Now, for anybody that doesn't know what LifeLog was, the goal of it from DARPA, which is the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency of the DoD, it was supposed to compile a massive electronic database of every activity and relationship a person engaged in, and that would include credit card purchases, websites visited, the content of telephone calls and emails sent and received, scans of faxes, and postal mail sent and received, instant messages sent and received, effectively logging every single thing somebody ever did on the internet, just down to, again, from beginning all the way to end. So when LifeLog was canceled...
Yeah, seems like that should have been canceled. That's crazy. The fact that that was even a consideration is crazy. Everything you've ever done on the internet is insane.
Canceled. It was canceled around February 4, 2004. Now, Facebook as a company, when we look at when it was founded real quick... Oh, February 4, 2004 they were founded. That was a... Pretty happy coincidence that a website literally designed to catalog your activities on the internet and, again, for you to log aspects of your life was literally made. So between...
See, I'm being brought into this conspiracy theory really hard. I swear to God. Because it's like, okay, yes, that concept is insane because it was a singular program that was meant to do that, right? That's why that sounds so insane, is it's like a particular project with that goal in mind to not let you have privacy and to log everything you do on the internet. In and of itself, a project being created specifically for that reason feels like insane. But the thing is that's not necessarily all that different from how your data is logged now. It just feels less centralized because it's from Google and Facebook and Twitter and it's from all of these other sources. It's not one centralized source with the specific purpose of doing that, but it's not like your data is not cataloged and logged all over everywhere you go,
Between 2004 and 2012, they pointed out, and the NSA, the National Security Agency, picked up DARPA's project under the Total Informational Awareness Project. So there's a link to this New York Times post where it says, giving in to the surveillance state. And again, this is posted behind a paywall with the actual, New York Times. A paywall that I do not care to actually jump into. But again, if we just look up what the total information...
I think paywalling publications like that is really gross. Paywalling free information, journalistic information, I think is weird and bad. And it's no surprise that people don't really read those publications anymore and rely on social media when you have to pay for something that should be free information, because the point of journalism is to have free and relatively accurate, information.
Information awareness really is. This was a mass detection program by the U.S. Information Awareness Office, based on the concept of predictive policing. That sounds like Minority Report. Jesus Christ. The program model...
Not the thought.
Hunt for terrorists around the globe.
Not the thought crimes. That's insane.
I mean, literally, this is Minority Report. TIA's goal was to revolutionize the ability to detect, classify, and identify foreign terrorists and decipher their plans, to preempt and disrupt any terrorist activity. I mean, literally, they would just do predictive analysis and test human behavior to see who would attack the USA and who wouldn't. Now, before we go further down that list that's going to scare the hell out of us, ladies and gentlemen, to give you one quick idea about the internet as a whole, the actual amount of traffic that exists is pretty much actually proven by science that it is more bot traffic than actual human traffic that exists on the internet. So you might have read this report.
Okay, I've heard this said. I'm really excited to get into this study because I feel like I don't even understand how you would know that. How do you measure that accurately in a way that should be taken seriously? Because that just seems like a crazy ass study.
Word about bots are taking over the internet, and effectively, you might have heard the actual idea that nearly half of all of the internet traffic in 2023 came from bots, and that number steadily increases year after year.
Put a 1 in chat if you a bot. Put a 2 in chat if you a human being.
So one of the reports from this group known as Imperva, which is, again, in the cybersecurity field, they analyzed the activity from 3 sources. One is a bad bot, one is a good bot, and one is human traffic. So obviously, human traffic...
There's so many bad bots. That's crazy. Oh, if it's not clear, I'm an AI created by Jeff Bezos in order to psyop you into buying Amazon purchases. Yes. I'm very bad at it, and I'm a very poor quality AI.
Traffic, thankfully, was at least 52.6%. But that meant 30.2% and 17.3% respectively belong to, bad bots and good bots. Unfortunately, the bad bots were a little higher than the good bots. In fact, not a little, but, well, substantially higher. So they said that out of all internet traffic in 2022, 47.4% was automated traffic, also commonly referred to as bot.
But what is that? On what? I guess to me, okay, how do you know that it was automated, first of all, and under what context was it automated, and also on what websites was it automated? I have a lot of questions, but maybe I gotta read the study myself. Maybe that's how I fix this. It just bothers me.
Compared to 42.3% in 2021. What they also said was the percentage of human traffic continued a downward trend. So in 2021, they were 57.7% of all the traffic was actually human generated. And that number went down to 52.6% in 2022.
Because I swear to God, okay, this is so dude, I'm listening, but I'm also thinking about all this other shit. I swear to God, there are hundreds and hundreds of Elon cocksucker bots. If you look at Elon Musk on Twitter, and you look at his replies, I swear to God that half of the people slobbing on his knob and slurping on his glorp are AI. Because if you look at their profiles, it's not people. It's not giving human. It's giving AI. The pictures of them are AI generated. It drives me insane. And it's not just Elon. It's on all kinds of shit. There's so much of it. But I didn't even know AI could do this in 2022. Really? That's a newer thing. I don't know, dude.
So what is a good bot and what is a bad bot necessarily?
Okay.
So to give an idea, a bot in general is just a software application that just performs automated tasks on the internet.
Right.
So a good bot in this situation, a good bot is something like Googlebot, for instance, or Bingbot. So search engine bots whose job it is to index websites so that you and I can search for them on the internet and basically get to them easily. That's an example.
Are you a good bot or a bad bot? Are you a bad bot, chat? Put a 1 if you're a good bot. Put 2 if you're a bad bot. Are you a bad bot, chat? Very naughty. We'll have to put you in the corner. You need a timeout, chat. You're a bad bot.
Example of a pretty good bot. Now, according to, obviously Imperva, a bad bot is a software application that runs automated tasks with malicious intent.
Okay.
So basically these bots just scrape data from websites without any form of permission. Kind of sounds similar to all these AI tools that exist, right? That literally just scrape all the information made on the internet, throw them into their algorithms, throw them into their models, and just use it to regurgitate information all over the internet, right?
Okay.
So what these bots are used for are things like, for instance, scalping, right? So you know all those bots that just purchase all the tickets and those PlayStations immediately, and then
who makes these bots die not in real life, in game in Minecraft. I will shoot you with a gun in Minecraft though. I'll shoot you with that bow and arrow in Minecraft. Holy, I hate those. Ooh, when I was trying to get my 3070 Ti in 2020. Ooh, I'll kill you. I hate those bots, dude. That is so ass.
Seller just basically goes on the internet or the scalper and just sells them for exorbitant prices. Yeah, they're using bots to basically perform those automated tasks such as buying products on the internet. But then again, it also includes things like DDoSing, which again, if you don't know, is a distributed denial of service, meaning that if somebody wants to take down websites, they use an army of bots to effectively launch negative, malicious traffic and take down websites, servers, and just people from the internet. So there is a lot of criminality that exists, and unfortunately, that automated level of traffic, those bots, a good chunk of them, unfortunately, are the bad variety. Now, the thing is, obviously, this isn't a good statistic, right? And it's only going to get way worse than you can expect, right? In the next couple months, Apple is about to launch something known as Apple Intelligence, at least in the United States. And this allows people to access generative AI and tons of these AI models through their actual iPhones. But it's not just that. You've got ChatGPT, you've got, Meta's AI. Every single tech company these days has an artificial intelligence that you can tap into that's entire job is to generate information, or at least in terms of generative AI, make videos, or at least images down the road, which means that a lot of information that is going to be generated is probably going to be AI slop that, obviously we can see, remnants of today, which we'll get into. But
okay. My take on AI is I think there are actually a lot of legitimate good applications for AI that would be good for workers, good for consumers, and overall just help processes go along faster and make, trim the fat, essentially. I do, however, think that the way that AI is being used is not those. I think that taking shortcuts in AI with literally everything all the time is ultimately a legitimately harmful thing to do. I don't really like the use of AI in art. Personally, I don't like it because I think artists are really cool, and I'm a VTuber, and I respect artists because my life relies on artists. So I don't really like AI art, but that's mostly because AI art is not that good. And real person art is usually very much pretty good. Yes, very good. Not all of it is perfect, but like AI art is slop. I don't really like AI art. I don't like personally how when I Google search something now, the top option is an AI reading of information. I'd like to do the research myself. I think that the thing for me is we live in the era of the most unobstructed access to information in the entirety of history. And I think that has made a lot of people complacent in learning things and understanding things and doing their own research. And I think that the way that AI is used incentivizes people to do that even less. Ultimately, I think AI will make people stupider, worse at communicating, worse at finding things out for themselves and making their own opinions. I don't like that AI is just being put into literally everything all the time. I think it is actually objectively bad for humankind. Do I use AI sometimes to generate my YouTube titles? Yeah, I do. Have I used AI sometimes to write a fanfic about people that I know because it's really, really funny? Yeah, I have. Do I think that there are legitimate uses of AI that could actually benefit humanity? Absolutely, I do. However, is that how it's being used? No. And I think it is going to make humanity stupider. It is going to make the information we access on the internet less reliable and ultimately make people dumb and complacent more so than they already are. And I think that is a objective bad for the world and humanity and humankind. That's my take on AI. I think it does have interesting uses. I think there were ways that it could have been used that were legitimate and actually helpful to humanity. And I think most of the ways that they are currently being used are for corporate greed and laziness and will ultimately not benefit most people.
Again, the other aspect of it is obviously those bad bots we just talked about, whose entire job is to scrape information off the internet for human information that they can put into their models to train. That's just going to get even worse, okay? As more and more AI algorithms and tools exist, the more scraping is going to happen for that dying and dwindling human traffic that is being generated. I personally theorize that that number of bots is going to increase to a point where the internet is literally going to be, you know, like 80% bot traffic, and very, very small percentage of it is going to be humans, okay? And
that concept makes me feel sick. I don't know how else to say it. I agree. The concept makes me feel physically ill. It also makes me feel sad. I just to be a little sentimental, I grew up on the internet. I think that's like probably pretty clear by the way that I am, that I've been chronically online for a lot of years. As much as the internet brings bad, you know, and there are evil, dark parts of the internet, because there are evil, dark parts of being of humanity, of human beings. It makes me sad that you won't be able to trust that other humans are humans. And really, the reality is like AI it'll be less and less easy to clock over time, especially on something like, for example, Twitter, because it's text-based. And so over time, it'll be harder and harder to be able to trust that someone's an actual human being. And it'll be harder and harder to be able to trust the information you're given. It's depressing. And I think it's actually fair to be apathetic, because the reality is that there's nothing you can do about it. It just is.
Ultimately, if there's not going to be any people on the internet, then what is the point of letting automated scripts effectively run the tool we created to share information amongst actual human beings? So what kind of AI bot slop information exists on the internet? For instance, one of the actual perfect examples of the dead internet theory is this subreddit right here. Okay. Now, if you haven't heard about Subsimulator GPT-2, to give you an idea about what this is a subreddit in where every single post is generated automatically using the GPT-2 language model by OpenAI.
I think there was a point in time where I think that would have been a really cool concept to me, but now the thought makes me want to vomit.
So this entire subreddit, if you're looking at it real carefully, all the comments, all of the subreddit topics have been made by actual artificial intelligence, right? So for instance, this one post right over here where I think they talk about chicken tikka masala.
What?
So right here, right? This one guy posted 6 months ago, this bot, how to make chicken tikka masala, right? Chicken tikka masala make it, okay? Like just speak about it in complete, like just go full native. But then read the comments to this right over here, okay? Since a bot is posting it, what we are actually about to witness is bot traffic interacting with bots, okay? There is no human element here. So in response to a non-existent video, this bot says, wow, they basically just used a microwave. What were they thinking?
What?
Maybe they thought it was safe and tasty. If they wanted to make it safe and tasty, they should have boiled it first. A lot of those guys like, this is great. Thank you for sharing. I'm a student and I'm trying to learn how to make my own food. And this is the first video I found with the title, How to Make Blank. And it's actually very helpful. So immediately
That's crazy! Why was that bot being relatable about how how-to videos are not actually helpful? How does it know that? I hate that. Ew! Oh, I have chills. Oh, I have goosebumps. That's so like, ugh! Ah! Ugh!
See, all the punctuation is perfect, and if it's one thing that tells you this is bot traffic, there is no source of conflict here, okay? Nobody's arguing with each other. Like, literally, nobody is doing Reddit properly. B's reaction when a girl gets hit by her dad. All right, we're getting a little dark over here already. Immediately, we jump from chicken tikka masala to domestic violence. But again, if you read the comments, it's even wilder. 4chan's bot goes, if you don't get to the front page of the subreddit within a month, you're a... insert slur. I know, I am that slur. You're a FT. You're just not an FT. All right, the bot's starting to like die out.
The bots are homophobic? That's fucking terrifying! I hate it.
Over here. So yeah, we're getting to the point where, you know, we're replicating 4chaners at this point too. So yeah, you know, all of that information that you saw here was literally generated by artificial intelligence. But it's not just that, ladies and gentlemen, it gets even wilder. Now, one of the things I noticed on, you know, sites like Twitter, for instance, before I, you know, stopped using it, was there was just a lot of bot usage. And I think
A
everyone
lot.
can agree, no matter where you are, there was just a lot of bots that existed on the platform. More so than, when Elon even took over. It just became a huge problem. So one good example of this is this one BBC post where they talk about the Ukrainian war, right? So it's just a
Right.
BBC post or just linking to their actual news report. And then one random account, Mabel Hamilton, with a full profile picture, this obvious bot-looking handle, writes, "Sorry, but I can't generate a response based on the prompt you provided." Basically patently just explaining to everyone that it is in fact a bot that exists on the internet just to serve fake engagement. I think
I'm so glad I'm using this little model because it is so able to accurately show the absolute horror-struck expression on my face. My other model just simply could not show you how absolutely gobsmacked I currently am. That's so horrendous! I hate it.
one really good example of actual AI-generated imagery or just AI effectively clogging up the internet and making it seem more dead than it really is, or actually turning the internet dead, is something known as insane AI Facebook slop. Okay, now you probably
Oh my God, have you seen these? This I have seen. I don't go on Facebook, but sometimes people post them on Twitter so you can make fun of them, or on TikTok so you can make fun of them. It is wild. You're about to go on a ride for sure.
seen handles of this on the internet, people sharing it's a whole subgenre. So literally you go to Facebook and on random pages there'll just actually be AI images. So this one image is literally artificial intelligence. No house looks like that. If you took 5 seconds to actually zoom in and look at this house, it doesn't make sense. But at least in this mind, you've seen that 2.6 thousand accounts have interacted with this, but somehow it only has 49 comments and 152 shares. So that number is grossly disproportionate to the amount of people that have apparently interacted with it. Even on YouTube, if you actually look at content around on the platform, you'll find out very quickly that there's plenty of channels that are quite literally just AI slop that exists, right? For instance, there's one video that is the most feared kid in prison. Now, this is by a channel known as Deadly Quest.
From a year
and it's 35
ago?
minutes long. So if you look at the actual, if you actually look at the thumbnail for it, clearly this is AI generated, okay? So if you click onto the video over here, YouTube is supposed to
Oh, that was him. I just got so confused. That scared the fuck out of me.
identify if videos are actually AI generated in some capacity, but I don't really see that identifier anywhere. In fact, if I go to the comments over here,
Well, I think you have to purposely mark that it's AI, no? Because I do have a thing where it's you have to mark that it's AI. I guess if you don't mark it, would it know anyway?
I don't see anything of that nature. So maybe they didn't either flag it as that, but if you look at it, the comments are turned off. You got 3.6 thousand likes, which makes no sense for a video that got 1 million views. So it was posted on September 11, 2023. Well, it was a tragedy, that's for sure.
World where ruthless children exist beyond fiction. From the Bever brothers to Mary Bell, young perpetrators
Well, the voice is definitely AI. Holy.
of unimaginable horrors, showing no remorse for their heinous acts, are in abundance.
So
Kids
it's a
Wait, what are they doing with their heads? Look at their faces. Okay. At a glance, it doesn't look that insane, but look at
unimaginable horrors, showing no remorse
It's just the way that they are. Look at their positioning, how they.
for their heinous
It's so odd. This is real, is it? I don't know now. Now I'm freaking out. Now my brain is I don't know. Then all these people be looking inhuman. What is real? I'm freaking out. Oh God. Maybe just humanity is dead. It looks like AI. Is it real? How do you know? I'm pretty sure that clip specifically is real. Oh God, it's with my brain. Now I don't know. Oh God. Okay.
acts are in abundance.
So
Kids
it's a listicle video where they obviously looked up most insane children trials on the internet, evil kid trials. They probably looked up some stuff, made a listicle video out of it, and obviously the narration, as you're hearing, is not an actual human being. I would bet every single dollar that I have to my name that was obviously an AI narration.
Yeah.
But again, you start to look into it, it's a pretty huge industry, right? Some of these videos.
That kid is yatted. What a badass little kid. He got that on his eye, on his forehead, on his little, he got a nose piercing. That kid's badass. Little AI kid, hard as.
Videos get 500,000
If I saw that little kid in real life, I'd run. Thankfully, he's not real.
He is the most feared child in prison. I wonder how
scared.
much of this like actual narration was done entirely. I wonder how much of the script was just all AI generated stuff. Like they
all of
bought
it,
a
right?
subscription to ChatGPT, generated it, and these videos have become huge. Like it's an entire massive thing. And if you start to read the comments over here, you literally see that the human beings that have interacted will say it's astonishing how the narrator can tell a 30-word story with 130,000 words. The repeating got annoying. This could have been interesting if it had not been repeating over and over and over again. But yet, it's an incredibly popular era of content, like 500,000 views for something generated entirely, I would assume, mostly, if not all, by just AI stuff. Again.
Damn, I don't know if I've ever seen a kid at court with chains around his neck. The chain around the neck being held by the cop is insane. That's wild. Look at that
It's not
kid.
a
He's
human
yadded
being
too.
making it. It's all just bot traffic. It's all just bot made.
Look
Obviously,
at that little ass.
the
Sounds like a little 5-year-old with chains around his neck. What the?
internet of yesteryears, like if you look at just some of these websites like Hanson's page, I mean, the best example that I can bring right over here is good old John Titor's website. Back in the day, the internet of yesterday used to look much like this, okay? Literally, you would just find hoaxes like John Titor, because
yeah.
obviously time travel was not proven by this magician. You'll find out, you know, they start talking about things like U.S. government. Like, this was the original point, reading insane schizo conspiracy theories about time-traveling U.S. government shit. Wars from the future would be written like this. And this was not AI. This was a human being coming up with stuff like this. I mean, you're talking about back in the day when, again, the oldest of the internet used to be, before websites were a thing, people would connect to things like these BBSs, for instance, where human beings, not bots, would interact and share video games, share files with each other. I mean, back in the day, you used to be able to learn Klingon on the internet and get a whole license for it. I mean, that website still exists. This is one of the oldest running websites, an actual Klingon language institute.
That's kind of cool.
But again, beyond just slop and AI stuff on the internet, one of the other things about the dead internet theory was a conspiracy that maybe it was the government that was effectively controlling the way human beings would think. So to give an idea about it, ladies and gentlemen, obviously we're getting into some conspiratorial stuff here, and my favorite part of this conspiracy is mentioning a game known as Metal Gear Solid 2. So,
Oh, God. Sorry. I'm not like, I don't know. I've never been super prone to conspiracy theories. This one, ever since I saw that Destiny video, I have just been plagued with visions of this. Like, I don't know how to say it in a less like insane way. I've been like plagued by how much like I just see it everywhere. But I guess it's like you're looking for, like, if you're looking for the yellow car, you see yellow cars kind of thing. It's insane.
one of the best monologues in Metal Gear Solid 2 towards the end of the game is when the AI, and again, major spoilers for a game that is super duper old, by the way, the game actually starts to detail artificial intelligence controlling the flow of information and what kind of information you read and see on the internet, which is harrowingly similar to the stuff that we've seen literally just happen to us in the last few years. Watch this.
Raiden, are you receiving? We're still here.
How's that possible? The AI was destroyed.
Only GW.
Who are you?
To begin with, we're not what you'd call human. Over the past 200 years, a kind of consciousness formed layer by layer in the crucible of the White House. It's not unlike the way life started in the oceans 4 billion years ago. The White House was our primordial soup, a base of evolution.
I'd rather the primordial soup be in the White House than on Twitter. Give me a different location. This is so fucked. This still assumed a better basis for this.
We are formless. We are the very discipline and morality that Americans invoke so often. How can anyone hope to eliminate us? As long as this nation exists, so will we.
I hate
Cut the crap. If you're immortal, why would you take away individual freedoms and censor the net?
Jack, don't be silly.
Don't you know that our plans have your interests, not ours, in mind?
What?
Jack, Listen carefully, like a good boy.
The mapping of the human
I'm not okay. I'm not good. I'm not good. I was gonna try and make a good boy joke or something, but I'm not okay. I don't like it. Cause you know what's so like f***ed up about it is that these are still human voices. These are still human people that they've taken and put a filter over their voice. Now we could just literally have it be AI. It could also be AI generated.
genome was completed early this century. As a result, the evolutionary log of
Content, but to create
filtered state
misinterpretation.
never current digitized world. Trivial information is accumulating every second, preserved in all its triteness, never fading, always accessible.
Rumors about petty issues, misinterpretations, slander.
All of this junk data preserved in an unfiltered state, growing at an alarming rate.
It will only slow down social progress, reduce the rate of evolution.
Right. You seem to think that our plan is one of censorship.
Are you telling me it's not?
You're being silly. What we propose to do is not to control content, but to create context.
What?
Create context.
The digital society furthers human flaws and selectively rewards development of convenient half-truths. Just look at the strange juxtapositions of morality around you.
So this monologue, which is probably the most profound 7 to 8 minutes of content in Metal Gear Solid 2 that one will ever see, comes from a video game that launched, what, around 2000, 2001 for the PlayStation 2? Pretty much predicted the future of artificial intelligences, corralling and basically guiding human beings into feeds that probably, you know, that they would waste tons of their time onto. So for instance, if you go onto the internet and you go to like any website, whether it be YouTube, whether it be Twitter, Facebook, really any social
I don't know what to say. I feel like I feel sick. Oh, I mean, it's just like that concept of like the convenient half truths kind of thing. Like, oh God. Oh. Ew.
social media platform, you'll honestly find out that the algorithms are designed to keep you effectively engaged. So if you ever find yourself wasting time by scrolling and swiping on TikTok, YouTube Shorts, or just reading Reddit for hours upon hours a day, and trust me, you know who you are, it's probably because the algorithms are keeping you constantly locked to new information over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Now, the way that the conspiracies kind of kick in, at least in Metal Gear Solid 2's case, and how it portrays the world, is artificial intelligence can control information and control context in a way that it allows you to basically listen to what they're saying as objective truths and realities. Effectively, when the information is controlled, monitored by bots and algorithms, people see what the algorithm wants them to see. So one of the exact explanations one will bring up to is something known as the Saigon execution. Now, this is an image that I'm censoring, but it's a pretty popular image back from the Tet Offensive of the Vietnam War. And this image was so profound that it was one of the most important, things, one very important moment in the Vietnam War history where public opinion of the war had shifted. And basically the way that I can describe this image is an individual had a gun put to their head, and that was the execution right there. So obviously the context around this information, again, context in Metal Gear's case, was Nguyen Van Lem, the person being executed, was an individual that was a captain in the Viet Cong. And them and their wife lived as undercover arms traffickers in Saigon. The guy who was actually committing the execution, Nguyen Ngoc Loan, was the chief of Republic of the Vietnam National Police. So the execution, obviously, when you look at that image, devoid of any context or, whatever context and
Hi, Frost Kuji. It's good to see you. Hello, hello.
algorithm wants to feed you, you might look at that and feel sympathy for the person being executed.
Right.
But when looking into the actual justifications, Lem's, the person being, executed, their action basically had amounted to that person being involved in some pretty serious issues, targeted killings of prominent people opposed to the Viet Cong, and in some cases, a story had emerged in the 80s where Lem had just murdered a police major, a subordinate and close friend of General Lone, and the major's whole family. So again, Eddie Adams believed and repeated the story. It turns out that the Viet Cong lieutenant who was killed in the picture had murdered a police major, one of General Lone's best friends, his whole family, wife, kids, the same guy.
I don't like it. I don't like it. Like that, but that's so as a content creator, right, I have seen how information flows among human people. Because I have typically been in communities that are relatively small, I think that they are majorly unaffected by the dead internet stuff. And I think they are majorly actually legitimately human beings. However, the thing that like fucks me up about this, because oh my God, I'm which you can definitely see on screen, which is wild to me. You can see way too much of my face right now. But the thing that is like freaking me out is like, this is already what happens without AI. This is already how information is disseminated around situations and twisted and made into half-truths and not being full, like the way that it's not fully honest and the way that it is all like gobbledygook nonsense. This is already how information travels, even when it is mostly primarily by human beings, because most of the communities I have been within have been small enough that they're just not going to be affected by AI. They are human beings. Not all. I'm sure there's some amount of AI somewhere because it's just everywhere. But it's majority human beings that are disseminating information. It's already like that. But then you bring in the reality that like now it is unaffected by that human nature, by that human touch. Now it is via algorithms and what is most popular and what the algorithm thinks will keep you engaged as long as possible and keep you interested and around as long as possible. So now it is devoid of any like attempts to give information that is poor and half-assed and not well researched. And it is just like wiping all of that out, and it is just words. It is just things. It is just like gibberish blabbering by robots. And so like what is already a thing that happens, which is this kind of like inaccurate, half-assed way of transmitting information that is highly biased, obviously, because that's what humans do. We are taking away any human element, any way of having legitimate information, and any way to actually verify if the people saying it are even human beings, which is horrendous. And I really don't like it.
These are things we didn't know at the time. Again, context is important regardless of what you see. And again, depending on what the Times have detailed, you know, what the politics of the area is, how context is created, an image of, you know, a Mujahideen fighter, you know, in the year 2005 has a much different context than back in the 80s when those same fighters were going against the Red Army, the Soviets, and were an ally of the United States. Okay, so
you know what it reminds me of? It's like if this was what everything on the internet is. It's as if this is just like everything you see on the internet. That's how it feels. And it's like getting worse over time. The design is very human, but it's full of sludge.
Again, context really matters, and how that information is presented matters. A good example is you really can't be sure what story is correct. All you can understand is that there is a photo of, at least in this case, the Saigon execution actually happening. What is the actual truth? What is the context? Well, that is controlled by, again, these internet feeds, these algorithms. So why am I going into this, you know, massive tangent and bringing Metal Gear 2 into the mix? If you go back to the conspiracy right over here, you'll find out that obviously from 2012 and 2018, a lot of it involves the US military. For instance, in 2012, the Smith-Mundt Modernization Act gives the US government full legal authority to use propaganda against its own population, undoing rules put into place after Operation Mockingbird's discovery and the Church Committee. So basically, from what I'm understanding, and I'm not a lawyer, I don't understand this entirely, but according to, you know, at least this Wikipedia post over here, what they would say is the dissemination of propaganda produced for foreign audiences, that would basically overturn a ban on domestically disseminating that. And this would effectively eliminate the distinction between foreign and domestic audiences, meaning that technically this would allow US propaganda intended to influence foreign audiences to be used on the domestic population. And that was according
Wow. I love that. I think that's awesome. I love it. It's
to
great.
BuzzFeed News right over here. So again, after that, there was apparently several DARPA NSA contracts given to Google, Facebook, Amazon, which again, no source for this, but it doesn't seem out of the ordinary. Again, a lot of big tech companies work with the United States government. Just look up Microsoft and their involvement with the US military. Then, of course, you've got Google releasing a bunch of neuro-linguistic machine learning programs in 2016. Deepfake leaks start to become released. And it's confirmed for decades now that Reddit, YouTube...
Oh, God. You guys remember when deepfakes were, like, the worst thing? When, like, deepfakes were, like, the biggest internet boogeyman and, like, the worst thing, like, humanity had ever made. And that was, like, a huge deal how dangerous deepfakes are. It's so much worse.
YouTube votes and view counts are fakes and completely manipulated. And that is, of course, linked to Intelligencer from New York Magazine. So according to this, they say the people are fake in some cases, where obviously the company says only a tiny fraction of its traffic is fake, and that is, of course, YouTube saying it. But fake subscribers are enough of a problem that the site undertook a purge of spam accounts. And again, if they're referring to YouTube spam accounts, YouTube does periodically remove bot accounts or spam traffic that could occur on its website. Obviously, bots and spam is a huge problem on the platform. Nobody's questioning that. But obviously, this is where the dead internet theory starts to, again, showcase its a bit of its reality over here, a bit of how this thing actually ended up coming into fruition. So according to this, bots are a huge thing, right? When we're talking about fake engagement. Make it so an opinion can be repeated more and more. They are faster than us, so the positive feedback makes is so we copy the bots. And anonymity can't do anything against it because we can't influence a bot like we could a human. This is an easy weapon to manipulate people, so anyone with an agenda can use a bot. And again, this is like where you start to read things about, like recently, there was there was a couple of YouTubers that were apparently being allegedly paid by Russian, state media, the Russian government, to spread propaganda allegedly into the United States. But here's the thing: if you have a bunch of bots on the internet constantly hyping up something, how do you discern if a human being is it or is it a bot? If you have like,
honestly, I mean, the bots are probably way cheaper, and then it's a lot harder to trace. I mean, if I was ye old Russia looking to spread some propaganda, the bots seem like a way better bet because it's much less traceable. It's probably easier to do logistically overall, and probably way cheaper. So I mean, even if you see a bot doing something like that, you're not necessarily like, oh, I wonder, like, I don't know. It's so, I hate it.
100,000 people online repeating a point or repeating anything. Maybe it really is like 10,000 of those people are actually humans and the other 90,000 are just bots trying to make it look like a situation is bigger than it actually is. So they bring up like a couple of posts right over here from the Young Turks, for instance. And they mentioned this in their description. A startup known as Narrative Science designed a program that writes human-like stories. Right now it's used for sport articles, but will it eventually be used to write news and political articles? So then they point to, obviously, Narrative Science as a company. And one of the important highlights is Narrative Science has several investors, including SAP and In-Q-Tel, the investment arm of the Central Intelligence Agency. So I didn't even know this until today, but In-Q-Tel, is that actually like a aspect of it? No. In-Q-Tel is an American not-for-profit venture capital firm. Owner is literally the Central Intelligence Agency. It's a venture capitalist firm that belongs to the CIA. I didn't even know the CIA is actually investing like that. That's crazy. So even the image...
I feel like the CIA shouldn't be able to invest like that. I don't know. I feel like maybe that's not a good thing. I don't know. Maybe I have like a lack of understanding about how the government works. And maybe I'm just uneducated. I went to American public school, so maybe I'm just uneducated swine, so maybe I don't understand. But it doesn't really feel like the CIA should be investing in venture capitalist products in general. Seems like a bad thing. I feel like they shouldn't be allowed to do that.
Boards. To go back to 4chan, finally, as we wrap this video on, because it's getting longer than I expected, you literally can see people posting on, like, over here, like, OP is talking, and then, of course, you go down a little bit, and it's just ChatGPT-3, and then it's OP, and it's just ChatGPT-3. It's crazy. That's shit. Insane. Back in the day, at least when you were arguing with somebody on the internet, at least it was a human being. Now it's like every time you engage with somebody or you do anything, there's a good chance that all you're doing is engaging with a bot, ladies and gentlemen. So at the end of the day, look, this video has gone on longer than it is, and I've went into a bunch of conspiracies and tangents. And today I found out that the CIA has a venture capitalist firm. So that's a rabbit hole I definitely want to go down more and more into. But before the sniper bullet flies into my head, I want to just basically, get out of here and just say, ladies and gentlemen, the internet is dead, all right? The internet is dying. And frankly, we're the ones that ended up killing it, okay? Now, like I said, you know, at the end of the day, if the whole scenario goes where less and less human traffic exists and more bot traffic exists, I wonder if we're going to reach like sort of this critical mass scenario where things ultimately have to be reset, okay? For the internet to work, there has to be a human component to it. Otherwise, it's just computers basically generating requests and information for the sake of doing requests and information. Human beings designed the internet to share information and experiences with each other, not to let it run amok with scripts and scrapes and bots all around. So yeah, the dead internet theory, it's a wild theory. It used to be a theory, but I would say, and go as far as to point out, that it is in fact an objective reality.
Yeah.
The internet is dying, and frankly, we've killed it. If you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike it if you dislike it. I am out.
I want to dislike it not because I dislike his video, but just because I don't like what he said. I don't like what I've seen, and I want to dislike it because I just don't enjoy. I don't enjoy knowing what I know now. I don't want to know what I know now, and I wish that I did not know what I know now. I don't know how to like end this off. Be careful with the information you share on the internet and with the information that you take from the internet. If you cannot verify humanity in what you are taking information from, maybe we do not take that information to heart. I don't know. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Come join us on Twitch if you ever have time. Say goodbye to YouTube, young Twitch viewers. And we stream live daily at noon Pacific Standard Time. We will see you guys next time. Love yourself, drink water, wash yourself with a washcloth. See y'all later. Bye!